Imagine the school bell ringing, your bag slung over one shoulder, and the moment you step through the gates, you already know exactly how the rest of the afternoon will unfold. Not because anyone told you, but because it always does. The walk home, the sound of your shoes on the pavement, the familiar streets, the quiet freedom of knowing no one is watching or waiting, just time stretching out ahead of you until tea, homework, and the evening settle in. In 1970s, Britain, after school wasn't something you planned or negotiated. It followed a rhythm so predictable and so ordinary that you barely noticed it was shaping you at all. Number 1. Walking home was non-negotiable. After school, you walked home. Not because it was healthier or cheaper or part of a parenting philosophy, but because there was no alternative that anyone talked about. Parents weren't waiting in cars. There were no daily lifts. School buses existed in some places, but for most children, the pavement was the route home, whether it was 5 minutes or 5 miles. You walked alone, with siblings, or with children who happened to live in the same direction, and the walk itself became part of the day rather than something to get through as quickly as possible. You kicked stones along the pavement, stopped at railings, compared homework, talked about teachers, or said nothing at all. Sometimes you took the long way home without even noticing you were doing it because time after school didn't feel counted in minutes. Rain didn't cancel it. Cold didn't stop it. You walked because that was simply how afternoons began. Number 2. The sweet shop detour. If there was money in your pocket, the walk home often included a stop that felt unofficial but universally understood. The corner shop. Glass jars filled with penny sweets lined the counter, blackjacks, fruit salads, flying saucers, sherbet dips, and whatever else you could afford with the coins you'd been given that morning. The shopkeeper knew your face, sometimes your name, and didn't treat you like a problem to manage, but like a regular customer. You chose carefully, counting coins on the counter, aware that once the money was gone, it was gone. There were no refunds, no second chances, and no adult stepping in to correct your choices. That short walk from school to shop, and then from shop to home, carried a sense of independence that felt completely ordinary at the time. Number 3. Changing out of uniform immediately. The moment you got home, one thing happened without discussion. You changed out of your school uniform. Uniforms were not play clothes. They were protected, respected, and often limited in number, sometimes only one proper set for the whole week. You hung them up carefully, ready for the next day, because getting them dirty wasn't a small mistake, it was a problem. What replaced them were old jumpers, worn trousers, clothes you were allowed to ruin. These were the clothes that meant freedom, the signal that school was over, and the rest of the day belonged to you. This change wasn't symbolic at the time, but looking back, it marked the boundary between structured authority and the looser rules of home and street life. Number 4. Tea at 5 without debate. Tea happened at 5 o'clock. Not roughly, not eventually. At 5. For working-class families especially, tea was the main meal of the day, and it happened with a reliability that didn't require reminders. Fish fingers and chips, beans on toast, sausage and mash, spam fritters. Simple meals cooked quickly, eaten together. The television was off. Everyone sat at the table. Conversation was expected, not optional, and silence felt strange rather than comfortable. Parents asked about school, homework, football, netball, or teachers, and you answered, even if you didn't have much to say. Today, families eat at different times in different rooms. Back then, tea at 5 wasn't a preference. It was a fixed point in the day. Number 5. Homework came before everything else. After tea, homework came first. You didn't negotiate it, delay it, or ask how long it would take. You sat at the kitchen table under the main light, with exercise books opened and pens ready, and you worked until it was done. Parents checked spellings. Times tables were tested out loud. Messy handwriting meant rewriting the page again until it looked right. Learning was repetition, memorization, and correction, not discussion. You couldn't go out until homework was finished, checked, and put back into your satchel. That rule didn't feel harsh, it felt expected, and once homework was done, the rest of the evening opened up again. Number 6. Children's television was scarce. Children's television didn't fill the afternoon. It appeared briefly and disappeared again. From around 4 o'clock to 6, programs like Blue Peter, Magpie, Crackerjack, Watch with Mother, and The Magic Roundabout filled a narrow window, and if you missed them, they were gone. There was no recording, no replay, no catching up later. Everyone watched the same programs, and the next day at school, everyone talked about them, because there was nothing else to watch instead. Television wasn't background noise. It was something you sat down for, fully aware that once it ended, it ended. Number 7. Outside until dark. Once homework and television were out of the way, you went outside every evening. The street became a playground, not because it was designed that way, but because it was empty enough to belong to children. Cars were rare. Parents knew roughly where you were, but they didn't monitor your movements or ask for updates. You played until the light faded, and when it got dark, someone would shout your name from the front door. Not text you, not call you, but shout. And that sound carried through the street like a signal. Modern children stay indoors by default. In the 1970s, being outside was simply what evenings were for. Number 8. Streets as playgrounds. Games didn't need equipment or permission. Football with a tennis ball. Hopscotch chalked onto pavements. Skipping rope rhymes. British Bulldog. 40-40. Hide and seek. Kirby, throwing a ball at the curb and hoping it bounced back. Lampposts became goalposts. Pavement cracks became boundaries. When a car appeared, someone shouted, "Car!" and play paused briefly before resuming. There were arguments, scraped knees, and the occasional fight, but adults rarely intervened unless something truly serious happened. Children sorted it out themselves because that was how play worked. Number 9. Building dens and claiming space. At some point, you needed a place that was yours. Dens were built in gardens, on wasteland, near bomb sites, or behind garages using whatever materials you could find. Cardboard, wood, rope, corrugated iron, old blankets. Safety wasn't discussed. Inspection never happened. Dens had rules, passwords, signs, territories, rival groups. They existed as long as they survived the weather or weren't discovered, and while they lasted, they mattered deeply. Modern children are given pre-built playhouses. In the 1970s, you built your own world. Number 10. Collecting was serious business. Children collected obsessively. Conkers in autumn, soaked in vinegar to harden them. Marbles, football cards, cigarette cards, stamps, comics. Every item had value, and trades were negotiated carefully. Your collection gave you status. A champion conker that had won 20 games mattered. Losing it felt devastating. Collections were stored in shoeboxes, tins, or drawers, organized with pride. Nothing was digital. Everything could be lost. Number 11. Weekly bath night. Bath night happened once a week, usually Sunday. Water was heated carefully and shared between siblings, the first child getting clean water, the last getting whatever remained. Between baths, you washed at the sink, face, hands, and neck. Daily showers would have felt wasteful. Weekly bathing was normal. Number 12. Comics were essential reading. Comics weren't optional extras. The Beano, the Dandy, Bunty, Eagle, Tiger, Valiant, Roy of the Rovers, Dennis the Menace, the Bash Street Kids. You read them cover to cover, swap them with friends, and followed the stories week after week. Reading wasn't encouraged. It was assumed. Number 13. Chores were expected. Children had jobs, setting the table, washing up, taking out the bins, sweeping floors, dusting furniture, no payment, no praise. These weren't chores, they were responsibilities. You did them because that was your role in the household. Number 14. Rainy days meant board games. When the weather kept you inside, you played board games. Monopoly that lasted hours. Ludo, Snakes and Ladders, Cluedo. Arguments about rules were common, but games filled long afternoons without screens. Patience was learned slowly. Number 15. Radio filled the background. The radio was always on. Listen with Mother, Junior Choice, music, stories, voices filling the house while homework was done or chores completed. Radio required imagination in a way television never did. It wasn't something you chose, it was simply there. Number 16. Running errands alone. Children ran errands from a young age, buying milk, bread, cigarettes, messages were delivered. Shopkeepers trusted you. Parents trusted you. You walked there alone and came back alone. Independence wasn't discussed, it was practiced. Number 17. Looking after younger siblings. Older children looked after younger ones after school. You made sandwiches, helped with homework, kept them safe until parents returned. It wasn't called babysitting, it was expected. Responsibility arrived early. Number 18. Early bedtimes and preparation. Bedtime was early and strict. 7 for younger children. 8, 9. No negotiation, no screens in bedrooms. Before bed, you laid out your uniform, polished shoes, packed your bag, and prepared for tomorrow yourself. Parents didn't do it for you. You learned to manage your own day. None of this was framed as special or important at the time. It was routine, predictable, ordinary. But that routine quietly taught independence, responsibility, patience, and resilience, not through explanation, but through repetition. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't always gentle, but it was lived day after day without being named. And sometimes, looking back, you realize that what shaped you most wasn't a single moment, but the rhythm of afternoons that all felt the same until one day they didn't. What do you remember most about after school?